Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Guy, and you're watching my Comic Book Talk YouTube channel. And today I'm joined with my good friend Matt. And let me say thanks for joining me today, Matt. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. A pleasure to be here.
All right, so today what we thought we were going to discuss is each of us have our top 5 favorite comic book story arcs or miniseries or, the stories that we really love and enjoyed over the years and the years. So, yeah, I'm going to do 5, Matt's going to do 5, and this will kind of be our top 10 list once it's all said and done. So, let me jump into it with my first one, and that is Spider-Man Blue. And let me ask, have you ever read Spider-Man Blue?
I have not.
It's Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I just haven't read it myself.
All right. So, the thing about this story arc, or I guess I should say all of them, really, because they did several series. They did Spider-Man Blue, they did Daredevil Yellow, and they did Hulk Gray. Was there a fourth one? I don't remember. There might have been a fourth color book. But the thing that really kind of grabbed me about this story, and if you've never read it, you're missing out, is it's like this kind of reflective story of Peter Parker dealing with the grief of all of the people that he's lost over the years, starting with Uncle Ben, Gwen Stacy, Captain Stacy, of course. But the first issue, there's this scene where the way he was coping with the loss of all of these people was talking into an old school tape recorder. And he's sitting in a room kind of telling Gwen Stacy like what his life has been like since she's been gone. And I don't usually get emotional over a comic book, but there's a scene where he's telling the story of what's been going on, and the door opens and Mary Jane walks in. And even just thinking about it, it's it gets me a little choked up. And in sort of this amazing, selfless kind of way of understanding, she sees Peter talking and she just says, "Hey, do me a favor and tell Gwen I said hi." And she just leaves the room. And ever since that part of the story, I was like, oh, you got me. Right in the feels, and I was hooked. Really, really great series. And you should read it.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot for sure.
But what about you? What is your first story on the list?
When you first asked me about this and what are your 5 favorite stories and storylines or arcs, I thought, okay, well, there's, of course, the runs and series that are, objectively fantastic. Like The Watchmen, things like that. Everybody agrees, The Dark Knight Returns is a fantastic series.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to do was focus on things that were impactful to me when I first read these when they came out. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what I based
Which was a long, long time ago.
It's been some time. But yeah, I wanted to bring up things in the 5 series or story arcs that were impactful to me. And I brought visual aids too, because I'm an avid collector. The first one I want to bring up.
Let me turn off my dinger so we don't get interrupted again. Sorry about that.
Is Justice League by Keith Giffen, and I'm sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce his name. DeMatteis, I want to say. This was sitcom in a comic book form. It was fantastic. It was just, every issue was hilarious. That's where you get the famous one-punch knockout of Guy Gardner from Batman. The friendship between Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, just hysterical stuff. The Martian Manhunter's love of Oreos, Rocket Red, just fantastic stuff with incredible artwork from Kevin Maguire. No one draws facial expressions better than that man. He is amazing. I get something from him every time I see him at a convention. Plus, he's an incredibly nice guy. But yeah, that was it for me. That was one of the most impactful runs for me when I was a kid, when those were coming out, and I would just eager to buy them every month when they came out. I love that series, and anybody that's read it will agree it is hilarious and just a really fun, good read.
Now, You read that when it was brand new on the shelves.
Yes.
Like, what year did that come out? Because I never read that one.
I'm off the top of my head,
vaguely,
late 80s.
Late
Mid to
80s,
late
okay.
80s.
So
yes.
it's an older one.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I never really jumped into DC Real like head first, so I missed that one, unfortunately. But now that you've suggested it, I'm for sure going to check it out.
It is fantastic, and it'll get some laughs out of you for sure.
Now, before we jump into the video, don't forget that every month here, I do a giveaway. And this month, the giveaway is for this comic book. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 328, the iconic Spidey cover with the Incredible Hulk getting the old uppercut as portrayed by my probably favorite artist of all time, Todd McFarlane. Now, in order to be eligible for this giveaway, it's pretty simple. First and foremost, be subscribed to this channel. And again, at the end of the month, I'll pick one of you guys to win this book. The second thing is to have notifications turned on. Click that little bell icon, because what I will do is a giveaway announcement video at the end of the month, and you need to see that video in order to actually claim the prize if you win. So don't forget to have notifications turned on. Click on every video and find out if you get this book. And stay tuned for more really cool giveaways in the coming months. All right, let's jump into my number 2, then we'll bounce over to you. So my number 2 is going to be kind of a predictable one. Like you mentioned, you don't want to just do like, oh, Dark Knight Returns, XYZ. Like, everybody knows those are great stories. But I can't not mention Sandman, and specifically the first story arc, Preludes and Nocturnes. There is... I mean, it's like a watershed moment in comic books, right? When Sandman came out.
Of course.
And you know, Neil Gaiman's kind of controversial right now. Like, there's like allegations he did this and he did that. So let's separate the artist from the art,
yes,
right? And just talk about the art. But, you know, you had Morpheus and how he gets captured and how he escapes and then how he goes out and retrieves his objects of power. I mean, 8-issue story arc, which is kind of long for a story arc nowadays. Like, you know, one of your examples is just a 2-issue story arc even.
Yes.
But, you know, it's long enough that you really dive into it and you like learn these characters. Yeah, I mean, for me, I can't not do a top 5 list without mentioning Sandman, even though it is a little bit cliche. Yeah, it's at everybody's top 5 probably.
Oh, yeah, that's completely understandable. It was a fantastic run. So
you've read it, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. All right. My next pick is...
It's going to the bag.
Going to the bag is, yes, the Roger Stern run of Amazing Spider-Man.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, my God. What a fantastic storyline. Especially, who is the Hobgoblin? I remember every month going into the comic shop when that issue would come out, or I'd pull it off the rack at the 7-Eleven when they still used to sell them on spinner racks there.
Again, you're dating yourself a little bit.
Yes, a little bit. But those were good times. And yeah, I would read every issue 4, 5, 6 times, pore over every panel, go over every piece of dialogue. Who is the Hobgoblin? It was this fantastic mystery that you were just trying to figure out, and the stories were fantastic. They would drop little tiny clues here and there. But yeah, the Roger Stern run of Amazing Spider-Man, especially around the Hobgoblin mystery, was just fantastic. I loved every issue of that, and I still have my original comics that I bought off the shelf in my collection at home.
The artist, and we talked about this prior, John Romita Sr., but also Jr., you were telling me,
yes,
was working on that.
Yes. Mostly it was John Romita Jr. on the interiors, but his dad would help him out on the covers.
So Senior was doing a lot of Spider-Man stuff in the early 100s of Amazing Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, and it's weird. You can see him credited on a lot of the covers when his son was doing the issues.
Yeah, I mean, I did a cover, some of my favorite covers videos, and really high on my list was number 122, the Green Goblin, yes, cover. And yeah, something about his artwork alone is just like, I gotta buy that book. You see it on the shelf and that just sucks you in, you know?
He's the iconic Spider-Man artist.
Yeah.
When I think of Spider-Man artwork, I think of John Romita Sr.
Now, one quick question about your storyline, the Hobgoblin series of stories. I assume the moratorium on spoilers has expired after
I would say so, yes.
The better part of 50
Yes.
years. Who is the Hobgoblin? Did we ever find out, or was it left as a mystery?
Well, if you ask me, the Hobgoblin was Ned Leeds, which we found out in the Spider-Man versus Wolverine one-shot. They have since retconned that, and I think that is crap. This Roderick Kingsley, whatever, I don't care. It's always going to be Ned Leeds to me.
Fair enough.
That was it was a satisfactory conclusion to that story arc for me.
Now this I don't want to like draw it out too far, but now this could lead us down an entirely different discussion of like, what about the Ned Leeds from the movies and where is that going to go? But we'll table that one for another video, I think.
Yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe to me has absolutely nothing to do with the comics whatsoever.
Okay. Let's jump on to my number 3. And I have a list here I'm referring to if you see me looking down because I don't have as good of a memory as Matt does. But Batman the Killing Joke. Well, kind of a controversial one in that, like, is that really the real Joker's backstory, origin story, or is it not canon? You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting. Some of the coolest things about the Joker, and this also applied to Wolverine until the Wolverine origin stuff happened, was there was no background. You didn't really know who was this person and what made them tick and where did they come from and everything. But The Killing Joke, as you know, written by Alan Moore, of course, and illustrated by Brian Boland, kind of put some answers into that question of who is the Joker. But you never really know if it's meant to be canon. Is it real? Is it the actual background? Or is it just like one guy's idea? That said, here's the real thing that kind of hooked me on this story. And it kind of like your Ned Leeds thing. Is he really the Hobgoblin? At the end of The Killing Joke, did Batman kill the Joker? At the very last page, Joker's laughing and Batman's standing over him and it's just a silhouette. Is he choking him to death? It's kind of ambiguous.
That is one of those things where it was so well done by the writing and artist team that that leaves it up to the reader to decide.
I mean, I've never heard any of the creators. Well, Alan Moore doesn't really talk about anything. But I've never heard any of the creators say this was what really was supposed to happen. It's just kind of up to your interpretation. And I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, Roberto, a little while ago, and he asked me, you know, like, what happened in the end? I don't think Batman killed him because Batman, quote unquote, never kills, right?
Yes, he wouldn't do that.
But it's a debate that I've seen had many a time.
Yes.
So, you know,
and plus you also fall in, okay, is that the accurate and true origin of the Joker? I think that also falls into one of those categories of being an unreliable narrator.
That's a good point. Yeah.
The Joker's insane.
Yeah, it's from his perspective.
It's from his perspective.
Okay.
Is that accurate? Maybe it is in his mind.
Maybe he thinks it's accurate, sure.
Maybe he does.
Okay.
I don't know. That's the fun of stories like that.
Sure. Yeah, I like that perspective or that take on that Joker perspective thing. All right, let's jump on to your number 3.
Okay.
What do you got?
My number 3 is going to be V for Vendetta.
Another Alan Moore?
Another Alan Moore story.
Which we could have just done a whole list of Alan Moore
with
stories.
David Lloyd artwork. And man, does the story match the artwork beautifully. Tonally, it's so dark and dystopian. And the artwork really sets the tone. It complements the story so well. And what a fantastic story. This dystopian future where the government controls everything, but it's all based on lies and misinformation until Codename V makes his appearance. And speaking of Roberto, he happened to be at a convention that David Lloyd was at, and he was able to get this sketch for me. Which I love. This is fantastic. I have an original piece of David Lloyd from David Lloyd. So yeah, that's going to be my number 3 pick. Is V for Vendetta. I loved the series. I have the original full run, of course, when it came out, and I love it.
Now, let me ask you because I've never read. Shockingly, one of the few Alan Moore things that I haven't read. I've never read the original comic books for that series. Of course, I've seen the movie with Natalie Portman.
The movie's very different.
Is it? So that's
Yes.
what I wanted to ask, is how well does it follow?
It does follow it at some points, but there are quite a few differences between the movie and the miniseries. But I mean, I'd say they got about 3/4 of it right.
Okay.
3/4 of it is accurate.
I mean, it was a good flick. I liked it.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. Like I love Zack Snyder's Watchmen movie. A lot of people give that a lot of crap. I think it's unjustified. I think it's a really good movie. I love that movie.
No, it was good. I liked it a lot.
I mean, clearly they had to make some changes, but that's just because it wouldn't translate from the original material to the screen, and I can understand that.
Yep, fair point. All right, let's jump to, what are we on? Number 4, right?
Yes.
My number 4, let me refer to my notes. Okay, so this was difficult for me. I couldn't nail it down to just one story arc, but basically from Giant Size X-Men number 1 through issue 150 of Uncanny X-Men. Basically everything that Chris Claremont
wrote, yes.
Yeah, everything that Chris Claremont touched for 10 years in the X-Men world was so good. I mean, you had Phoenix and Dark Phoenix and Hellfire Club and Days of Future Past and so many good individuals.
Such a run. Such a fantastic run.
I couldn't pick one. I mean, if I gun to your head, pick one. Could you?
No. I mean, his run was so long, which you do not see anymore.
Ever.
You do not see that.
Ever.
They have brand new series coming out that don't even last 10 issues, which is just sad. And anytime they do have a big name writer or artist on an issue, it's only for a promotional gimmick, and they're gone after 2 or 3 issues.
Yeah.
But yes, his run on the X-Men is amazing. I agree 100%. What a fantastic body of work.
I really liked, and I mean, I don't know if this is my favorite, but I'm just trying to think of which was my favorite. Could I just pick one? And I liked the issue, or maybe it was 2 issues where Kitty Pryde comes back to the Xavier School. There's that iconic scene where she's Professor X is a jerk, and she storms out. And
yeah,
that was right around where I stopped reading it. It's around issue 150 or something. But that iconic scene has been replayed and rehashed so many times.
Oh,
and it's
course.
really not even that consequential. It wasn't a major fight or a major villain or an event. It was just it was really human to see this person, this character reacting to the situation that they were in. But I mean, everything that he did in that entire run was just phenomenal.
Yeah, an amazing, amazing run.
All right, what do you got for number 4?
All right, for number 4 for me is going to be
I see what's coming.
The Squadron Supreme 12-issue miniseries by Mark Grunwald.
No, you brought this over and you showed it to me, and of course I had never even heard of it before. I bet a lot of the people out there that are going to watch this haven't heard of it either. So tell us about it and what makes it special.
Well, the Squadron Supreme were initially brought in the early Avengers. I want to say around issue 85. I might be wrong. And they were the Squadron Sinister. They were villains to fight the Avengers. And they're coming from an alternate version of Earth. But then later on, then we discovered there's another variant of the Squadron, but there's the Squadron Supreme, and they're heroes on their planet. And unfortunately, I believe it's one of the conditions of the reality that they're from that makes them highly vulnerable to mind control. So any of these, villains that use mind control, they, use the Squadron Supreme as their pawns. And what happens is it's a storyline in the Defenders where this villain, is mind controlling the Squadron Supreme to make him, do all his villainous, plans. And the Defenders help the Squadron defeat him. And this leaves their planet in utter devastation. The governments are in ruins. The cities are devastated. It's complete anarchy. And so this series picks up after that. And so they're trying to rebuild their society with the best intentions. But as we all know, the pathway to hell is paved with the best intentions.
Yeah, right.
So things go awry. And it's a fantastic read, a lot of human emotions and feelings, and you really sympathize with them and what they're trying to do, and even the rebellion against them that Nighthawk starts. You get to kind of see things from every perspective, and it's a really, really good run. Mark Grunwald did a fantastic job on this series.
Now, the interesting thing that you told me about this before we were filming today, when you introduced me to this for the first time, was that this is a Justice League ripoff team.
Yes, it is absolutely a ripoff of the Justice League. You have a character to match every member of the Justice League.
Literally, like one for one.
One for one. They have identical powers, even similar appearances, and they just change their names. You know, Superman is Hyperion, Batman is Nighthawk, you know, everything. The Golden Archer, guess who he is?
Yeah, right. They had an Aquaman or something?
The amphibian, yes.
The amphibian, exactly.
Yes. I think there was even some lawsuits involved. But basically, they were different enough that Marvel was able to maintain the rights to them and use them, which I really wish they would give them another shot, because Squadron Supreme, they have a soft spot in my heart. I have a soft spot in my heart for them.
Now, you know, actually, you mentioned the Golden Archer, and, you know, who's that? Of Green Arrow, obviously. But what about Hawkeye? Who came first, Green Arrow or Hawkeye? Do you know off the top of your head?
Oh, I do not. If I had to guess, I would say Green Arrow.
That would be my guess, too. So it's not like these companies haven't been, like, pinging off of each other back and forth for years and years. So I don't find the fact that this is basically a Justice League copy to be, like, offensive or, like, you know, like copying or stealing or whatever. They've been doing it forever.
If it was an individual character like Hyperion on Superman, they have identical powers. They just look different, they're named different, but they did the entire team all at once.
Right.
That was kind of a middle finger to DC at the time.
All right. Well, I'm going to check that one out because it seems crazy enough that I might enjoy it. But we'll go to number 5, and my number 5 is another Alan Moore. And I'm going to give a couple of quick honorable mentions, because I wanted to keep my list to just 5 and then you 5 for a total of 10. But honorable mentions, of course, we already mentioned Dark Knight Returns. We've already mentioned Watchmen. I think those are 2 that are some of the best stories. Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns, of course. Another Alan Moore with the Watchmen. But a third one, and I kind of wanted to do a Spider-Man, but like it just didn't quite make the cut for me, was Kraven's Last Hunt.
Of course.
Possibly you've read that one.
Oh, yes.
That's probably my favorite Spider-Man story arc, even though it didn't make the cut. So I just wanted to mention a few honorable mentions. But my number 5, and I guess maybe this is my number 1, I don't know if we were going in any particular order, is Alan Moore's run of Swamp Thing. So Saga of Swamp Thing, issue 20 through 63, 64, something like that. It's basically just one story arc. It's not even like a miniseries. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to talk about story arcs. Like, this entire run was just this ongoing story of really, really interesting character development. You could not just jump into it in the middle. You have to read the whole thing to truly appreciate it. But all of the great stuff that Alan Moore has done, for me personally, I don't think anything touches Swamp Thing. He, like, took this character that was kind of like kind of cool horror character or whatever, but it's also kind of a little bit cheesy or campy.
Yeah.
And like made it like really, really like kind of cerebral and like thought provoking, starting with the beginning where it's like, is he a human that turned into the swamp creature? Or was he the swamp that just like absorbed this human's consciousness and like, you know, the existential crisis of what is the Swamp Thing?
Yeah.
And then his relationship with Abby Arcane. And, you know, there's this like scene where she's like eating the fruit off of him and having like a psychedelic reaction to like the fruit that's growing off of his body. And, you know, all of these really interesting stories that go on throughout that entire run of 45 some odd issues that for me, it's one of the best stories of all time.
Yeah. All right.
And what do you got?
My next one, it's a 2-issue story by Tom DeFalco in Spider-Man. And it's issues 269 and 270, who I've had the pleasure of meeting them at Heroes Con, and I got just about everybody to sign these for me. And what a thrill, because this is by far my favorite Spider-Man storyline. It's just 2 issues. And what happens is Firelord is on Earth. And I don't know if you were familiar with Firelord, but he is an arrogant a-hole, for sure.
And don't forget,
Herald of Galactus,
Yep, Herald
cosmic
of
power. he is way outside of Spider-Man's weight class.
This is long before Spider-Man got cosmic abilities, right? Like, you remember that story?
Oh, yes. No, that was a fun little story.
This is long before that.
Long before that. This is just black costume Spider-Man, regular Peter Parker. And Firelord is just, being an arrogant a-hole, and Spider-Man is trying to figure out what's going on. And, of course, Firelord being Firelord, the two start fighting. And, yeah, Spider-Man he's not ready for this at all. It takes everything he can muster to just avoid being, completely creamed by him. He's going to get his butt whipped for sure if he tries to take him on. And so all he's doing is he's trying to avoid every, fireball, every blast that he can from Firelord.
Right.
And Firelord is just flying right through buildings, and not even trying to avoid any collateral damage because he doesn't care. I mean, he's Herald of Galactus.
Right.
And, Spider-Man's a little more conscious of that, of course, because he's Spider-Man. And so he's trying to get him away from populated areas. He's doing everything he can just to avoid this guy. But then finally it comes down to making Spider-Man what is, who he is, with great power comes great responsibility. So he's got a duty. He's got to stop this guy before he hurts somebody. And so he just goes into like his pure spider sense mode where he is just letting everything, all his reactions are instinctual. Every punch, every kick he throws, every jump he makes is just based on him reacting instinctually to his spider sense. And next thing you know, the Avengers show up and they're pulling Spider-Man off of Firelord. Like, hey, okay, you could stop. He's done. He's down. And he looks down and he's knocked him out. He didn't even realize he had done it because he was just so far just into Spidey sense mode. And he'd beaten him just through pure grit, determination, and just Spider-Man being Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was not a story that I've ever read, which I told you about, but for anybody that's watching this information, I haven't read very many Spider-Mans prior to like issue 300. When I started collecting comic books in 89 or 90, it was like right around Todd McFarlane's run, and that's where I picked it up, and I don't know, just never went in deeper into the backstory. Now, with that said, and I asked you this earlier, but for anyone that might be wondering, I'll ask for them, like, what was Firelord doing here? Like, how did this fight even start? And I believe you said, like, it was just, like, left over from another story, right?
Yeah, it was just that I think Firelord was on Earth because, I mean, he wasn't on Earth because of anything related to Spider-Man. He just happened to be on Earth at the time from another storyline that had wrapped up.
Because, I
don't remember exactly why he was there, but
I think a lot of people's, I don't know, frame of reference for like Galactus and the Heralds of Galactus is going to be from the movies where like there was the older Fantastic Four where Silver Surfer came to Earth as a Herald of Galactus, and I haven't seen the new Fantastic Four. Maybe she's a Herald of Galactus too. I guess there's probably something going on there. But anyway, that's kind of a big deal. It's like, you're seriously a powerful person, and Spider-Man, who is a powerful character, is not on that level at all.
No.
So, yeah, very cool story arc. I'm definitely going to go back and read that one.
Yes, but as far as honorable mentions go...
Oh, yeah, you got any honorables?
I had one I was going to add. It was the Ed Brubaker run on Captain America.
Okay. Where
they brought back Bucky Barnes. And Bucky used to be one of those characters. He was gone, and he was not coming back, like Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
He was Cap's Uncle Ben. Bucky was not coming back. But they did bring him back because it's, comics, of course. Nobody's really dead except Uncle Ben, apparently.
Yeah.
But it was so well done. I wasn't upset about it. Ed Brubaker did a fantastic job of bringing Bucky back. And now he's a character all on his own. He's in his own right. And I think they didn't give him enough chance when Captain America was Steve Rogers was out of the picture and Bucky took over his cap. I wish they had given him a lot more time to explore the character of Bucky as Captain America. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a good read. But I love anything Ed Brubaker makes. That guy I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, top notch for sure. All right, well, that was my top 5. That was your top 5 in no particular order. Leave them down in the comments your top 5 if you're watching this and you disagree or agree with either of our choices. This isn't any sort of scientific list. We didn't do like...
No, this is just, this is our opinions and what we like.
Yeah, just, stories that have, influenced us and moved us over the years. And we're two old guys that have been reading comics, me on and off, you probably almost exclusively your whole life. And, these are the stories that kind of shaped us. So I thought it would be a fun, 20, 30 minutes, whatever, to shoot the shit and talk about what our favorite stories have been over the last couple of decades anyway.
Yeah, this is a pretty normal conversation that we have pretty routinely anyway. So,
all right, well, we'll wrap this one up today because we are going almost on 30 minutes on this video. And let me close this out by saying thanks to everyone for tuning in and watching. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. And keep on collecting. And until the next one, bye now.